Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code, that's Bleav50, BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash. I'm here with former legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Gentlemen, we got a different kind of show tonight. Today we're kind of showcasing more summer league or summer pickup kind of games today, as most of the topics are today. So, how you guys feeling?
Doing good.
Good. Before the show, we kind of had a brief discussion about 3-on-3 basketball versus 5-on-5 basketball. And we were just asking Eric what he thinks about it, because Teja and I are in a league, or not a league, but it's, grown men playing pickup basketball. Sometimes it's hit or miss, but you have the guys who come for 3-on-3. Sometimes it's 2-on-2. And tonight we have 10 guys coming, so 5-on-5 is the big thing. And we have some guys who don't want to play 5-on-5. So we were just asking Eric what he thought about the what is better basketball, if it's 3-on-3 half court, or if it's 5-on-5 full court.
I mean, 5-on-5 if everybody runs back and don't cherry pick. But other than if they're going to do that, then go ahead and cut it in half and play your 3-on-3 and let guys rotate in and out.
Yeah.
You think full court, you get a lot more like calories and steps, but if people don't run, then it kind of makes you not run. Then in the end, half court, you actually work out harder.
Yes. It's constant movement.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing about 3-on-3 is constant movement.
There's no excuse.
It's not as much running, but it's constant.
It's short spurts. Like,
I mean, full court, you're running even if you don't get the ball. Man, that's what some people want to do. And as you get older, you're like, man, what am I doing all this running for? You get one shot every 8 possessions.
Yeah, with 3-on-3, you got to sprint for to clear the ball out. You sprint there. Got a nice little 5-yard little run to get the clear the ball, then check it in.
I don't have to worry about that, Eric. I bring the ball up, man.
Yeah, I feel you.
I don't tell you that.
Top of the key. I'm with you.
But we got not really much going on in the Sixers world. Obviously there's topics like the Kevin Durant and James Harden going to a Travis Scott concert together, having good times, and obviously people online were thinking that KD's coming to Philly, he's hanging out with Harden again. They're fine. But no, there's topics where there's a lot of summer leagues going on. So with the first topic tonight, we've seen some pickup basketball footage of James Harden, and with playing with other NBA players. I think one that was the big one was he playing against other the Raptors team. You got Thaddeus Young, Scotty Barnes, a bunch of guys in that team. But Sixers fans have gotten overly excited about offseason tapes in the past. It's one thing to hit open jumpers against, a guy holding a training pad, and it's another to do it against other NBA players, which James Harden did it against Thaddeus Young in the videos that we've seen. I'm kind of alluding to the LA Fitness shots of, Ben Simmons knocking down threes, knocking down mid-range jumpers, thinking that that's going to change. And then when we get to the season, that doesn't happen. But then Harden, we talked about mid-range. He was doing that against Thaddeus Young and other NBA players in the videos that we've seen. So, I mean, how much stock do you put into these summer pickup games, Eric?
I mean, for me, it's more of a keeping your feel and keeping your game cardio and practice cardio up. I don't put more into it than that. See the guys playing basketball, they're playing. But more than that, I don't see it as something that he's going to come back as this dominant player. I think that helps, and it helps you get a feel for the game and, get to play. outside of just doing your individual workouts. But we all know where guys get better. I mean, that helps. That's a part of it. But the other grind and taking care of yourself and the weight room and individual workouts, it has to be a combination of things. So I would imagine that that's going on. And if that's going on, then it'll all benefit.
Teja, I know you're one who has gotten you've never been overly excited about the offseason videos. I've usually been the one to come with you, like, you see this, and you're like, all right, well, relax.
Maybe a few years ago, you can only get snake bitten so many times before you don't give a shit anymore. As far as this one, though, I mean, first and foremost, I agree with Eric. I just like seeing guys involved, like seeing them play basketball, like full court in the offseason. It's just nice. I like seeing guys participate. Especially Harden playing in all these pickup games. It means just, I don't know if they're showing more this year than other years, and maybe because of like COVID and stuff in the past, they weren't playing as much, but it seems like we're seeing a lot more this year. I don't know why. It's just cool to see them competing. Like hitting open jumpers is fine. I do like seeing guys work on their game, whether it's against 10 guys or just alone, but I love seeing guys play other guys are going to face in the league in a few months. Right. Especially nowadays where everything's documented, it's filmed, everything's posted out there. Sometimes you might be worried about guys putting themselves out there to possibly get embarrassed, or if they look out of shape, or if they lost a step, and possibly in Harden's case, like you saw that DeJounte Murray, what's the dude's name?
Paolo Ranchero.
Yeah, you saw that tape where, all the talking shit and embarrassing him and all that kind of stuff, like, and turns into a beef. I mean, it can spiral into that. You can, I mean, it's crazy that these games can form like a little rivalry that goes into the season, right? But it's cool just to see Harden out there cutting loose and not afraid to play in those kind of games and, test out some new stuff like the mid-range.
Teja said something interesting, Eric, and obviously back when you played, there wasn't, not everyone had a phone, that could film everything, right? Like, so, were there a lot of these like kind of these pickup games that you guys would play against other
guys? Did it all the time. I mean, guys, I moved to Georgia, Atlanta. When I moved there because during the offseason, that's where we worked out and we played. So that's how I ended up there for that reason.
Oh, wow.
So you have, Atlanta was a hot spot. Houston was a hot spot. LA was always a hot spot. Vegas had started, guys were coming to Vegas. And those were kind of the hot spots during the off season. It was nice places to live and warmer weather, and it was places to work out. Because the one thing about NBA players, a lot of those guys do work out and they like to play. But when I played, a lot of people wouldn't play with just anybody. Like, you want to play with like-minded people that have the same interests as you, and not someone that's coming out there and trying to show you that they're better than you or they should be where you're at. So it was a lot of people that, you kind of knew where the runs were. So people would come into town for a week, work out with that place, or maybe go somewhere else, and just so you can mix up your workouts. It wouldn't just be individuals, so you would have a chance to play. Even if it was just 3-on-3 one-on-ones, whatever it was, you're playing against pros, and that's what people, kind of did. I know a lot of guys that I knew in the league that I'd never played with, that I spent a lot of time with, was because we worked out at the same time. And this was all before you ended up going to your team and meeting early before training camp officially started.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you see these things like Teja and I were watching the New York City Point Gods documentary. A lot of these guys in the offseason are going to parks and playing and stuff. And so obviously, pickup games have been going on for many, many, many years. But now we're starting to see behind the scenes stuff with everyone having a smartphone who can film all these things.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, you just see it more, like most things.
Yeah. Okay, so going on the pickup basketball games. So obviously in one of the clips with Harden, we talked about Harden dominating, but there was another clip where Scotty Barnes was kind of picking up Harden full court, playing tough defense on him. And after the run, Harden praised Scotty Barnes for playing that way. But we've also seen and heard players criticize others for doubling in pickup games. I believe Devin Booker was talking about that. And so my question is to Eric, and for someone who did play in these off-season pickup games, where do you stand when it comes to this? I mean, are some more pickup games there to mess around or to be more competitive, full court type of game?
I think it's different. When I played, I picked up full court not to press someone, but to build my cardio up. So that was my way of building up my cardio. So that's how I could know where I was conditioning wise, if I was able to do that. So I would, I was playing against, I would tell them, I'm gonna pick you up full court. I'm gonna just stay in front of you. I ain't trying to press you or rip you and take the ball. I'm just gonna be there so I can practice on getting back and then being able to sit down and play defense behind you. Once we get across half court. So it wasn't never really no issue with that. And as far as guys playing, I just think it really just depends on the player. Like I did that, so Scotty Barnes is a young fellow. I actually known him, since he played against my younger son Darius in middle school in Florida.
Oh wow.
So it just really depends on sort of mentality. We don't really know. I would think it's not personal and he's not doing it because he's trying to
show him
challenge James. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Or do anything like that. Or he's just actually trying to make himself better and do something that he wants to do during the season. So hopefully it's that. And when that's the case, you have to be professional and understand that just like James Harden wanted to get better at what he does, Scotty Barnes is a different basketball player. So the things that he have to bring to the table are different. So, and that's why a lot of times, that's what I was saying before, you want to play with the guys that are professionals and not necessarily all NBA players, a lot of professionals that don't play.
Somewhat equal though, right?
Yeah, they have the same kind of thinking and mentality.
And skill level probably too.
Yeah, and they're all trying. There's some guys that don't play in the league that are very skilled.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just saying from the standpoint of, a lot of people would have a lot to lose. Some people that, are a little reckless because they don't have as much to lose. But
I think basketball awareness and intelligence comes into play.
Because you kind of know when you're playing for guys, if it's a loose ball, you're playing a lot of pros and a lot of guys like that. If they're playing in August, they're not going to dive for the ball.
No.
You don't have to worry about guys diving at your legs. That's just not going to happen. You kind of understand that. So if you step out that zone and start playing with a lot of people that they're not doing anything bad, that's just how they play. That's why that's how those things can happen. And that's why you'll find guys kind of shy away from that.
I used to play basketball at this gym on the East Coast in Virginia. And as the night went on, the competition got slowly worse. I call it a good guy would leave, an okay guy replace him. And after a while, it just got worse and worse and worse. And I remember I'd be sitting on the side and one of the guys would be like, all right, I'm done. The ratio of bad to good is too much now. I don't want to get injured. And that would be his thing. He needed to stop at some point because he's like, too many of these guys are making the wrong plays and they just undercut you or and they don't know. They just don't know.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that. Yeah, to hear that. As far as pickup games, like we talked about earlier, so much of this goes on social media. So the don't double me thing. I'm sure some guys maybe want to go out there and create some highlights and get some trends on.
Yeah, I forgot. I didn't mention that, but the double. I've seen guys get mad, like Booker did. I've seen guys do that. When I played with a lot of guys didn't really double unless it was like game point. You would see guys on game point. You playing with some of the top guys, like they're not going to let you score. But in the NBA world, that's reality in most cases.
Yeah.
They're not going to let you just come down to play one-on-one. But probably the doubling every single time in the summer, no, I don't think that's necessary. Just put somebody else on them, or you know what I'm saying? Like, if he comes in the pick and roll, then you can trap him. But just a flat out doubling. Yeah.
I think I think it's cool though. It's a real life game situation. Why, it'll make you better. It won't make you worse. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, it really depends on
what he's trying to accomplish that day.
Well, how the game is being played, because if you're playing pickup, and like James Harden's playing pickup, and he's playing with NBA guys, they're more inclined to play NBA defense, NBA rules. But if you add guys that don't play in the NBA, the rules are different, then all of a sudden they're going to sit in the paint. Because there's been a lot of times I would go back to Michigan State, but like, dude, you got to get out the lane. They're like, we don't have to do that. So it was like, and then you can think like, I'm playing with all the guys. They're like, they can just sit in the paint all the time. So, so that just changes things. So it just kind of depends on. So a lot of guys, that's another reason why guys like playing with NBA players, because they're going to play the rules, because in a couple of months or in a month, you're going to have to do it anyway. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to create those habits that kind of get you away from playing that way.
Yeah, I'm sure guys go out there for different reasons too. Like some guys might want to go there to put on a show and just show people up for an hour and then leave and just get some highlights out of it. Some guys might want to go out there to maybe test a move out, kind of like a comedians. They go around like the country to test new material out type of thing. Yeah. Maybe players go out there and just test out like a new move. A new. Yeah,
I understand all the plan. I don't understand all the videos, but that's nowadays. I'm a little different. It's all different from what I grew up with. Everybody does it. So
yeah, maybe Booker was just trying to put on a show, and he's like, "Dude, don't double me. What are you doing? I'm just trying to."
I don't know. Like I've seen guys, but I have
trying to cross my guy out.
I've seen guys, tons of guys get mad when they get doubled. Like that wasn't new to me at all.
And maybe Barnes did tell Harden, "Now I'm going to pick you up like full court and just I'm going to try to stay in front of you."
He could have. Yeah, I don't know. So, one thing for a guy to tell you that, then he's able to make you work. Mm-hmm. So I think it was a situation where he was like, "Man, this big tall dude was making me work," even though maybe it's off season and it'll be different. You can pick up full court and be great in the summer, but when you go in the season, you pick up full court and then Joel set a screen at 75%, 75. It's different. That's different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now you got to get hit or you got to go all the way around that screen.
Plus, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's different though. It's different. Are the guys coming up to set a screen, or are they just letting you get pressure? So it'll be ways to release all that pressure. But I get it if a guy is trying to work on his conditioning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if Barnes would want to do that anyway. He'd be exhausted by game end if he tried to pick up Harden all the way up the court every single play. I don't know if that would be good.
I believe he can do it. Because you wouldn't do it every play, but I believe he can do it enough. And like I said, it really depends on being there, not necessarily trying to, when we all younger, we all think of picking somebody up and pressing them. It's like pressing them, trying to take it from them and causing a turnover more so than just being in front of a guy, being there, staying in front of them, taking away an easy lane and making them start their offense out high. It's all you really want to do.
And killing clock.
And taking the time off the clock. The further they start that offense out, the further the first catch is, and then you slow them down, it just makes it tougher to score. Especially with a guy like Harden who likes to dribble anyway. Yeah. So, by the time we get the offense started, it's like 10 seconds left.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I love seeing him praise him after there. He obviously liked it. Harden's out there probably working on his conditioning. I don't think he's trying to prove anything at his age right now. It doesn't matter to him. So, yeah, I think if he liked it, Harden's a pretty honest guy. If he didn't like it, I think he'd say something. But to compliment it afterwards and say that's what we want to see is that was cool. I like that.
Yeah, got it. That's cool.
I will say Sixers fans weren't really happy with the way Barnes kept clapping after he was D'ing him up, but Sixers fans get mad at a lot of stuff. So
he was happy to stay in front of him.
Okay, so another so that was a trending topic for the past few days, but another trending topic was Sixers eclipsing. So I believe the over under right now is 51.5 for the Sixers this coming year. So everyone's talking about scenarios of how this team could potentially be a 60-win team, maybe a 55-win team. So begs the question, over the last 5 seasons, we have eclipsed the 50 wins 3 times, 2 of which, one was the bubble season, which I think we only played 73 games that year, and the following season, which was 72 games, we had 49 wins. There was only 72 games, so 10 more probably would have had the 50. But we've eclipsed the 50 quite a few times the last few years. So my question is, with a lot of Sixers fans saying we can get to 60, question is, not counting injuries, the Sixers will win less than 50 games if blank happens.
I don't think that happens. Even with the major injury, I don't think that happens.
Really?
The only way I can say that is like a major injury. You said barring injuries, right?
Yeah. Yep. So just play on the court, I guess.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Eric likes the squad.
Yeah.
Barring injuries, I don't. That's not going to happen. They're 150 games.
Because you got to consider we won 50 last year with.
Yeah, I mean you'll win.
Me missing a lot, and Simmons not playing.
I mean that's winning 25 out of 41 games at home and on the road.
Yeah,
we're going to do that.
I will
if we're not doing that. I mean, because we can't be talking outside of our mouth saying that this team can go and compete for a championship, and now we're talking about barring injuries whether they can win 50 games.
I guess it's more so like if the season was a failure, why would that be? What would be the reason that this team doesn't take a step? I guess.
I think the only way this team doesn't take a step and get it is Joel's not the same player, which I doesn't think. If he's not the same player, I don't think that's. If he's the same player, I don't see how it can happen, with no injuries. But if for some reason he declines, and there's nothing in me that sees he can make that kind of a steep decline in a year. So I mean, I really don't. I think injuries is the only thing that can bar them from winning 50 games this year.
Yeah. Guess my answer would have been. I kind of had 2, right? I had like it's worst case. This is the worst case scenario question. I put if Harden officially lost a set, 1. Like if Miami Harden was Harden all next season, that would not be good. I think the NBA, if they smell blood in the water, everyone's gonna copy whatever game plan you got and just attack him all the time and make him dribble 30,000 times. So that would be the worst case scenario for me. And then if he did officially lose that step that, everyone's fearing, does Maxey take the next step forward? So it's a 2-parter, right? So like, Maxey's importance goes skyrockets if Harden lost a step. So, that would be mine. But, Harden's, I think he's going to be he's already in great shape from what I've seen. He's not going to use, because I think I read he uses the beginning of the season to get in shape rather than come into the season in shape. But I think that's completely different this year. I think he's coming into the season, will go into the season in shape. So it'll be really interesting to see how he performs, because no rehab, no lingering hamstring. It's just him in shape coming into the season and being prepared. So
yeah, all the excuses everyone had would be out the window because there's no hamstring. He was able to condition this.
I totally see it like, if James is the same as last year, just say that how you finish the season, and from a number standpoint, they should win 50 games. Because if we're saying Maxey is, next in line and we keep giving him praise, like I don't see how a scenario can happen outside of injuries. I just don't see it.
But third year is pretty important for a player, right? So like Maxey, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm hoping it's not, but he could potentially regress. I mean, he could maybe not.
I don't think he'll
took
regress.
A big jump from year 1.
Yeah, I don't think he'll regress. I just don't see the
same jump happening.
Yeah, I just don't see how the way the team is, like how he can take that much of a step unless James is taking that much of a decline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why it was a two-parter for me.
Because it was, because it's, to me, in order for him to take that big step, he has to be the primary ball handler, which means James isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I don't, I think they can succeed with both of them, dominating and being, that type of player, but I just don't see how both of them can be that type of player. Along with, Tobias is really good. I know you always getting on his salary, Teja, but he's a really good player, man.
No, he is.
I don't see how you can not utilize that.
Tobias is solid, and Tobias, I think, really benefited off the playoffs. I really think he did because he looks so much more comfortable than he did in the season with Harden. I think if he just goes in with that same trajectory that he went in the playoffs, I think he'll be even better. I think he'll be so comfortable now. He knows his role. He knows what he's doing.
I also think out of everyone that was returning on the team, we talked about Maxey taking the lead. I think Tobias is the one that should probably have the biggest chip on the shoulder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how he comes back.
He hears all that stuff.
Yeah.
He hears all
What'd you
that.
say? All that stuff you say? What'd you say? All that stuff?
that stuff. I'm one of the stuffers, but yeah. I never said I didn't like Tobias, right? I just said for the money. That's like my disclaimer on that one. For the money. Unfortunately, there are dollar amounts tied to each one of these guys. I would love to, just.
I mean, they said that about me and us, and these guys make more in a year than we made in our careers.
Yeah. Well, we can officially say they were being unreasonable assholes when they were criticizing you, Eric.
No, I'm just saying, like, I get it. Like, I don't think it's if Tobias Harris made half of what he made, it would still be people that criticize.
No, I mean, yes, yeah, of course, it's Philly. Yeah,
yes, they would criticize him.
They'll criticize anybody, right?
Yes.
But I mean, yeah, AI got criticism, right? So I think he would.
Yes, but I think the money came in is because he's up there with the names that he's up there with.
Yeah, I don't think Tobias would get less criticism if he made less. I think he would get more praise if he made less, though. No. I think anytime people want to praise him, like, but he had a great game. He had 30 points. He should do that every night. He makes this much money.
Instead of him, when he has 15, they say, well, he still make $20 million. He needs to be making 18.
Yeah.
So instead of 20, they just say 40 or whatever he makes.
Yeah.
Because it all comes down to what you do in your last game.
I would complain a lot less.
What you do in your last game.
Yeah,
I give him more praise if he made less, but
Tobias definitely does listen to this stuff. I saw someone, he quote tweeted somebody on Twitter. Someone was like, "Oh, you need to get traded," and then he was like, he quote tweeted, he goes, "You're blocked." So I mean, he definitely sees this stuff. But last on this, is 60 wins out of the question for this team?
I don't think it's out of the question. I don't think it happens, but I don't think it's out of the question. I think we're anywhere from 52 to 57, 58, somewhere around there. No, it's a big range, but I would say between 52 and 58. I think we're over 50, but under 60. Because I think the East and the West, the team's so much better. All the teams, I think a lot of teams got better.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to, I don't think anyone's going to run away with, like Memphis, not Memphis, like Phoenix did last year. Mm-hmm. I just don't see that happening this year because I think if all teams are healthy, like we're talking about our Sixers being healthy,
right?
I see a lot of, bunching of, looking for seeds. I think it's really, really close, and I just don't see anyone running away with it. Mm-hmm. Sort of the way the top of the East was this year. One team and 3 teams top. I think I see that in both conferences this year, which means it's going to be harder to get wins.
I think 60 is totally doable. I mean, it all depends also with rest, and you just never know how we're going to stagger. But we're deep as hell, and We had 52 last year.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, I can remember when the year we went to the finals with the Sixers, we rested guys at the end of the year. We could have easily had 60. So
Yeah.
You never know. Guys didn't play.
Yeah,
we lost home court advantage in the playoffs because guys didn't play the last couple games of the year. And we lost the games. A lot of people don't realize that. We would have had home court. All we had to do was win one more game. We had the same record as the Lakers.
Oh, man.
And they won this tiebreaker from conference record. We had split during, but they won the tiebreaker from conference record.
Oh, that sucks.
Or whatever the second tiebreaker was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we had the same record as them. And the Spurs, I believe, had one game ahead of us. Mm-hmm. So everybody was looking like, well, the Spurs, we're not going to be a couple games ahead. Like, we're not going to catch the Spurs. What difference does it make? But people weren't looking like, well, we still got to be better than the Lakers.
Mm-hmm. Man.
But we played the game, and everybody thought we was going to win. Because we played like the Bulls, who weren't very good last game of the year, and they beat us. And we ended up having the same record as the Lakers.
Oh, man.
Not saying we would have won the championship, but I think it would have mattered.
Mm-hmm.
And you rested starters against the Bulls?
I believe that I know I played, and I don't know how many other guys played. I don't know if AI played or if he played. I don't know if he played.
George was definitely out because he came back in the playoffs. So George was out.
George was already out. I know
AI was already banged up, so he very.
I don't know Tyrone. I don't think Tyrone Dikembe played. If they did, they didn't play very much. Because I can remember with the game being in the end and us not having our guys in there. So I don't even think it was a game that we were really, trying to win. But that was hindsight, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, still though, yeah. I think 60 could be in sight, though. I mean, I with winning 51 last year, and we had the COVID issue, we had the Ben not playing all season, Harden coming in late, and be missing like 10 or 12 games in that stretch. 51 still. I mean, that's good, but
So I'm looking at that last game of the season. So we lost 92-86. Damn, Elton Brand had a good game that game, 31 points.
If I had to say it, I would say no.
Okay. So the starting lineup was
George did play.
Yeah. It was McKee, Snow, Geiger, Lynch, and Hill were the starting five.
So Dikembe did sit.
So Tyrone Hill, I know Tyrone was complaining because I can remember in the locker room, Tyrone was complaining that Dikembe wasn't playing.
They played 11 minutes.
And then I think he maybe only played a few minutes.
He only played 11.
Yeah, that's. I tell you, I can remember in the locker room him complaining because I told him nobody played. Yeah.
Yeah, Jermaine Jones had 38 minutes that game.
Yes.
McCulloch had 21 points off the bench.
Yeah, he did. And Ronnie Buford put in some work too.
And that was did Roger Bell play that game or did he come later?
He played about 6 that game.
Yeah.
You looking back on it now, speaking of Raja Bell, looking back on it now, Eric, like, because he became like a defensive phenom after all that, right?
I mean, Raja only played because it was really a situation that happened with Ronnie Buford. Like something happened. I'm not in liberty to say what happened with the team, but that's how he got into the rotation. And then once he got into the rotation, he just played hard and he gave us an extra defender. And, he went from playing at the YMCA with his dad to playing in the NBA Finals within a matter of months.
Crazy.
So, and then,
did you see that in him that he was going to become like this?
Well, I mean, he actually tried off with the Spurs and I think he got injured or something. He played well. The Spurs wanted to keep him. So it was more of when we started looking for needing an extra body, the guys started getting injured, Pop recommended him to us. And then he ended up coming and, they tried out with other guys and he ended up working and they liked the way he played. And of course, he was the type of guy that Coach Brown likes.
Yeah, totally.
So, and then he played and he played hard in practice. And like I said, we got in the playoffs and then when guys started getting injured, he kind of fit the role of what we needed and what we were looking for. And he played well. You have to give him credit. I mean, that was hard. I know He played in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
And he played in the NBA until he retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy that he just came out of nowhere, right? Like that probably helped him a lot too, just being thrust into such an important position on a team like that. It gave him probably a lot of confidence.
Yeah, and it limited his role. His role was, come in, defend, and play hard, and he ended up making some shots, and Coach Brown encouraged it. Like he was a guy that he wasn't a guy like that kind of luckily made it in the league. He was a guy that deserved to be in the league. His opportunity just came differently.
Mm-hmm.
Became a prototypical 3-and-D'er, man. Oh my goodness. He shot 40% for 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 7 out of 8 years, 8 out of 9 years, dude. That's crazy.
That's the kind of guy you wanted on this team.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. You give me Raja Bell.
That's Teja's prototypical guy right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, I would have taken a younger Danny Green too.
Yeah.
We're talking about great 3-point shooter 3-and-D'ers right
Yeah,
now.
we are.
Yeah. I would take them. Yes, I would gladly take them.
All right. So for the last topic tonight, I know it's the guy we talked about quite often on the show. Everyone, the Prince of Philly, everyone's calling this guy. But Doc's recent comments about Tyrese Maxey, he said he's the most impressive player he's ever had in his 21 years of coaching, which is that's a pretty big thing to say about a guy for a Doc who's been coaching for so long.
Impressive young player, right? Young player. Right?
Yeah, most impressive is a young player. Yeah, in 21 years. I mean, I guess Maxey is young, so maybe that's why he's saying that, but I don't know. But Doc's coached a lot of good guys in his 10 year of coaching. So big praise coming from Doc. So my question is, we kind of alluded to it a little bit. We were talking about the worst case scenarios and best case scenarios for next year or this coming season. But if Maxey does develop into this all-star, which a lot of people think he is trending in that direction, does he become the Sixers' second most important player? I know we talked about being the big three with Maxey, Harden, and Embiid at the end of last season, but does he become that second pivotal player if he does become the all-star that a lot of people think he's going to become this coming season?
This coming season?
Coming season, yeah.
No, I don't think that happens this coming season. I just don't see it happen. I think he can improve, but I don't see him being the number 2 guy. I just don't think they'll use him that way. I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's possible for him to, be used that way if he's not the primary ball handler and you still have Tobias. I think he's going to be improved. He's going to be better, and he's going to be a huge part of the team. I just don't see him being a number 2 guy.
Teja, what are your thoughts? I know you're a big Maxey guy.
For the future, yes, absolutely. Right now, no, I think he takes a lot of pressure off of Harden having to score that 25, 30 a game. He doesn't have to do that anymore. As long as he can contribute and score 20-ish. So like what did he average like last year? 17 points, almost 18 or something. So yeah, I mean 18 to 21. Then Harden can just continue to run the offense and concentrate on getting guys open looks. For reasons I listed before about Harden not losing a step, that's why he's the second most important player on our team, because if he looks really
the one thing that I think that we have to kind of look at is a lot of last season, James wasn't there. So he was playing in a different role.
Yeah.
But now if James there full time and other guys are there, I'm not sure that what he'll be asked to do will be that high for him to be a number 2.
Maxey, you're saying? Maxey.
Yes, Maxey.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I think when Ben didn't play and James wasn't there, his responsibilities and everything went up, and he's like, everybody like, oh, he can do it. We didn't see enough his first year to really think that he could be that guy. So he's kind of shown it that he can take that next step, but I just don't know if that next step can be, I don't believe it can be next year because of the other guys and the expectations on this team to compete for a championship.
Yeah, I think Maxey can thrive, and I think that part of that is that he doesn't have that pressure. I think it's good for him and Harden. Neither one of them have the pressure to be like the sole 2. I mean, they could be 2A and 2B, right? So, I mean, as long as Harden's probably the A. But I just think it helps both of them so much not have to worry about like having that pressure on them to be the Robin to Embiid's Batman. But yeah, I mean, I just, you know, you have to be incredibly efficient in his, and, you know, and Harden could also rest games if that hamstring's starting to linger, or, you know, come back or whatever. He can rest, and Maxey can be the full-time ball in his hand guy and, you know, put up 30 plus if he wants to. And we had the depth to jump up, you know, I'd be comfortable starting Melton at 2, or starting, you know, Tucker and, God, you name it, Melton, or start Tucker and Thybulle. But yeah, I think future wise, yes, he's the second most important player on our team, but you know, next year probably not.
But what do you? But Eric, what do you make of Doc's comments on Maxey? That for a guy who has coached for so long, to say he's the most impressive young guy he's coached, big praise, right?
Yeah, it's big praise. I mean, I don't know offhand how many young guys Doc has really had a chance to coach and play at the same time. Guys,
that's the kicker right there.
Coach and play. I mean, and plus Doc's had some success where he wasn't always picking high guy, you know, having high picks.
True.
So I don't think he's had situations where he's had a lot of lottery players or guys with those expectations coming in while they were younger. So
Rondo would come to mind as far as a young guard.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, Rondo wasn't young, but Rondo was in, you know, I don't believe Rondo was a one and done. So, you know, they won the championship Rondo's rookie year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Rondo also had those other guys with him that year too. So,
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of similar, right?
But he didn't have to be the number 2 guy. That's all I'm saying.
No. Yeah. I don't think Rondo ever had to be the true.
Yeah. So, that's what the expectations for, you know, it's good. I mean, if Doc sees that, he sees something in him. And, you know, I guess I can't say Doc is wrong. And that's how he feels. I just don't know offhand, like, how many guys he's had. I just know that Doc's had some good success. And I don't think he's had a lot of guys with, you know, that are younger with the expectations of being kind of what we see Maxey turning into.
Yeah.
And even with Rondo, I remember there being some problems, like team problems with him, even when he was young, even. So you definitely don't have to worry about that with Maxey. Maybe that's part of it with him, as Maxey.
Yeah, I think part of it is not just his game as far as what he does. I think it's his game. I think it's his preparation,
mentality.
I think the way he works, and then his, you know, probably the way he, you know, receives coaching. So I think it's a combination of all those things.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Rondo was 2 years at Kentucky, and they're both actually the 21st pick of the first round. They both were. Maxey,
wow.
And both Kentucky guys. So
wow. Yeah. He was 20 his rookie season, 21 his second year. So it's very, very similar. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
A lot of parallels there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all right, fellas. Well, that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Bleav In 76ers, presented by BetOnline. We'll see you guys next week, as we hope more stuff comes as we get closer and closer to the season.
All right, thank you. Take it easy.
All right, guys.